Hey Joe, it's Andy. I hope you're doing well. So anyways, I wanted to kind of show you our pressure sensor tank that we're talking about, and I think you could do a lot of testing on this that I think would be really helpful for you. So one of the first things you're going to have to do is there is some assembly required, nothing serious, but it'll come in these pieces right here, but this bellows won't be connected, so you'll have to connect it. There will be a couple of centering rings. And what those centering rings will do is they'll just fit right inside there. It'll button up against the tank, and then you have to put this clamp on. Pretty straightforward. Nothing difficult. But you'll have to put that on there because it'll take up a lot less space when do shipping. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we want to make sure that this valve is closed right here and this valve is open. This valve is a pressure relief valve. I also put a gauge on it so we can measure how much pressure is inside the tank. This port right here is going to be where you can put your pressure sensors. I have it blanked off right now, but I'll put in this fitting right here. That's a 1/4 inch NPT fitting. That'll be in place of that, so you can put your pressure sensor right there. And if it's an 1/8 inch, I also have this 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch adapter, NPT, that you can put in there too if you need to go to an 1/8 inch. For our project, it probably would be better to go to 1/8 inch NPT rather than the larger 1/4 inch. That'd be my preference. Also, I'm going to send you some Teflon tape, wrap that around the threads, that way there's no leaks that are inside there. So once we have this open, we have this valve closed, this valve open. We can turn on our pump, and it's going to be running. Let it warm up for a few minutes. We'll close this valve right here, and then what we'll do is we can open up this valve. And what this valve's doing is right now we're doing a calibrated leak. We're basically allowing some air to go through the pump. Don't want to run it wide open because we don't want to damage the unit. Also, if you run it wide open for an extended period of time, all the oil is going to end up inside the tank, and we don't want that. You can put your finger over that, and you can feel that there's a little bit of suction on there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to let this thing go. We'll let it pressurize. It'll take about a minute for it to start registering that it's detecting pressure on this gauge. It's a 5-gallon tank, and you can go up to about 20 psi. I would recommend not going higher than 20 psi. If you go higher than 20 psi, we might be doing some damage to the pump. This is not the type of pump that we're going to be using for our sensor module project that we have here. This is just a little junky one. But anyways, also, I wouldn't let this go above 20 psi. And actually, in a few minutes, you'll see the pressure start rising here. And so when it comes time to change your valves, changing your pressure sensors, what we're going to do is we can close this valve, and that'll allow air going into the pump. And then we're going to open up this valve, and this will release the pressure built up inside this tank. And then you can go and you can change out your your pressure sensors. Actually, if you want to zoom in on here, Brian, we can kind of see it starting to already build up pressure. We're at about 3.5, 4 psi right now, but I did operate this up to 20 psi, and the pump was not a problem. But I wouldn't recommend going higher than that. So so you can do that. You can monitor your pressure. It'll probably take about 5.5, 6 minutes to actually get this tank up to 20 psi. So that should give you enough time to go ahead and do some testing and things like that. When you get ready to change your pressure sensors, then what we'll do is we'll close this valve right here, and that'll stop the air leak. And then just open up this valve, and that's releasing all your air pressure out of the tank. Once we get done with that, change out your pressure sensor, close this valve, open this valve up again, and repeat the process. Should be pretty straightforward, pretty simple to do. If you have any questions, please give me a call. Thanks, Joe. Bye.